Welcome back to Bespoke Addict. I'm going to be selling these absolutely sensational, full bespoke John Lobb, made in 1976. Just beautiful, beautiful things in truly superb condition. Let me just show the soles. This is just utterly amazing. And even the heel has I don't know if the camera will pick it up, the actual stamp Lobb. They generally stamp it here, and that survives because it doesn't touch the pavement. But that touches the pavement instantly and gets worn away. Yeah, it's on both here as well. Look, it's on there, and it's in the middle here. That one always survives unless somebody rides a bike. If you cycle and you let the pedals rub about here, it scrapes that away. But it doesn't get rubbed off on the pavement. But they've barely been worn, and they're just beautiful, beautiful things. They are simply too wide and too tall for me, and they're just beautiful. I'm really a bit miffed that I've got to get rid of them because they just don't fit me. They're simply too wide, and they've got this glorious heel that it flares forwards. Extremely elegant heel, beveled waist, classic West End sole. But the way that heel flares forward. Now, interesting story of these. Ordinarily, such a shoe, such a costly shoe, is the territory of wealthy people. And the person that had these was not a wealthy man. He was a porter on the overnight Pullman trains in the 50s, 60s, and 1970s, and he was coming up to his retirement. And he noticed a gentleman on a train wearing a pair of John Lobb. He didn't know what they were. And he just said, complimented the gentleman on his shoes and asked him where he got them. And he said, "Oh, John Lobb." The porter didn't know, and he sort of did a bit of research and found out who they were and went down and had a look. Obviously, when he went to Lobb themselves, he got a monumental shock at the cost. I mean, I don't know what he was expecting, but it wouldn't have been obviously what he was greeted when he went away. Then he thought, do you know, if I save my tips, I could afford a pair of those after a year or so. So he saved his tips, and after a year, he had enough tips to sort of get him on his way. And he went down to Lobb and put a deposit down, paid half up front and got measured up. And about a year later, the shoes were ready, by which time he'd saved the other half in tips. And that's how this gentleman got these shoes. And I bought them off his son. They were made in 1976, even though they still look pretty much new. They've had barely any wear, and they were made in 1976. But the thing was, the son told me that his father never found them terribly comfortable. I think he wasn't used to wearing, solid, bespoke or bench-made shoes. If he was used to sort of things like Clark's with crepey soles, which are made purely for comfort, he might have struggled. But those of us that know these sort of things are expecting how they feel. Now, if I can just pop these trees out, these are not the correct trees, and these trees are not being sold with the shoes. These are off a pair of Bespoke Foster and Son. In fact, let me just undo the lace. They are tight, and there we go. Let's just pop this one out instead. Yeah, that's coming out. I'm not selling them with the trees. The trees are not for these shoes. They are Bespoke Foster and Son, and I've used a bit of cardboard just to pack it up. Because these are really quite wide on the vamp and tall, and just to that's all I've done. Just packed a bit of cardboard in there, but they are gorgeous inside. But John Lobb modified them inside because the customer kept going back because he was saying, they're not very comfortable. They're not very comfortable. So Lobb kept putting different inserts in. And I've never tried to take those inserts out, but I'd be very surprised if those inserts were taken out and it didn't have the gold printed Lobb, which is slightly unusual to have a pair of John Lobbs that are in this condition that doesn't have the gold Lobb printing. But that is the story why the son told me his father just couldn't get on with them. He didn't find them comfortable, and Lobb kept experimenting with different insoles. And anyway, I thought I'd just make a quick video, and I'm going to be sorry to see these go. I absolutely adore them, but they are just physically too wide for me. They look daft on me because I'm not a big build, and if I were heavier, and they'd be fine. But they just look too bulbous, even though they're glorious shoes. They don't suit me. These will fit somebody much heavier than myself. with a much heavier build, heavier physique and broader feet. And there is definitely somebody out there for these shoes, and I will be sorry to see them go because they're just beautiful. But if they don't fit me perfectly, I'm being strict. I'm just selling, and I've got too many shoes, and these are just sitting around in my house as ornaments, and I'm going to miss them. I'm going to really miss them because I'll never find another pair in this condition. Even, you find that bit of the stamp because it's protected, but you never find it on the heel because it just wears away. That shows you how little these have been worn. It's still on the heel, for God's sake, Wow.